Take this one.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here at this after lunch panel. You should be taking a nap and you are here, so thank you very much. I'm Jordi Luque. I'm a food and drinks journalist and I'm head of communication at Gastro, who is a venture studio with a focus on gastronomy and is sponsoring this panel. And I'm very, very well surrounded by experts in this agro-tech gastro chain. We have Francesc Pons. You are general manager at Innsomnia. Please complete whatever I miss.
Yeah.
So you lead an acceleration program for startups in the agri-food sector.
Yeah. I'm general manager from Innsomnia. We're developing a program for CaixaBank, for AgroBank Tech Digital Innovation.
Okay. Patricia Fernández de Arroyabe. I spelled it well?
Perfect.
Thank you. You are VP Corporate and Government Partnership at Eatable Adventures. What do you do there?
Yeah. Well, Eatable is one of the 3 largest food tech accelerators in the world. Actually, nowadays is the first food tech accelerator in Europe, as we are leading around 50% of acceleration and incubation programs in Europe. And we are incubating also startups. We are accelerating startups, and we also work with several companies, with basically almost 40 food companies around the world, just to connect them with startups worldwide also.
You explained me that you solve very interesting problems that maybe after you can go further.
I want to share with you many interesting things.
Ernest Laporte from the Bulli Foundation. You are a trustee of the foundation.
Yes, correct.
You promote creativity and innovation and share it with everyone.
Yes, the idea is to accomplish with the threefold mission of the Bulli Foundation. The first one is to safeguard the legacy of El Bulli restaurant. That means not only facilities, means also philosophy, values, attitude. Then also the second mission is to generate high quality and curated content for future generations that wants to be professionals in fine dining. And the third one is to promote the management and innovation attitude in small and medium companies. And this is more or less what we try to do there.
And you told us that you came with a lot of questions.
No, the idea and the aim and philosophy is always wondering things, no? And wonder the status quo of what we think is already correct. And we think that the holistic vision gives different perspectives of the same matter, no? And I think that today we are here just because of that.
And Frederick Gifford, Strategy and Partnership Manager at Sony IA. You lead an independent research unit inside Sony. Your aim is to unleash human creativity with AI and robotics, and you have a focus on gastronomy too.
Yeah, that's right. So, Sony AI is a business inside Sony, set up by Sony, owned by Sony, but we're independent and we do research, basically. And we focus on 4 specific areas: gaming, imaging and sensing, AI ethics, and gastronomy is the 4th one. It's a little bit strange because Sony doesn't do loads in gastronomy at the moment. Apparently the founders' first thing they tried to do in the 1950s was build a rice cooker, and it exploded in their face, an electric rice cooker. And since then they haven't done much, but now we're focusing on gastronomy again. And we're just sort of opening a lab now in Barcelona. Yeah, my focus is to work with 2 teams. One team looking at robotics. How can you put robots into the kitchen with high-end restaurant chefs and really get them to collaborate on dishes? And then the other side looking at data. How can we use AI to capture data from the industry and then give it back to chefs in various different forms?
Okay, so after World War II, agricultural engineers realized that they have to solve a lot of problems. They have to feed the world population after both wars. And they use like the industrial tools to solve that. It worked for some decades. Now we are in a different stage, you know, but we have some challenges to solve too, and our tools are different too. Our tools are based in knowledge, innovation, technology, artificial intelligence. So I'm going to launch a general question to all of you. Maybe Francesc can start, Patricia after, Ernest and Frederic, because I want to ask you, in this chain that you know that joins agro to haute cuisine, very creative gastronomy, which challenges are we facing? Which tools can we use to solve it? And what are the best practices that you are detecting, that you are finding in both ways? You know, which challenges and which solutions do we have? Please, Francesc.
Thank you so much, Jordi. We can start telling about the most important challenge that Agrobank Tech, is the way in which the CaixaBank is developing a new ecosystem for startups from the agriculture scope. So the most important challenge is the sustainability. So for it is launching a new open call for startups, new ecosystems based in three parts or three pillars. The first one is the radar, an observatory and a think tank to get a new vision, a new paradigm of the agriculture, farmers, and all the industry. The second one is an open call for startups to try to develop a new ecosystem for startups from the farmers, the field, the logistics, the industry, and then the food. But this is the last step. And then connecting the startups with the corporates in a B2B and open innovation model to co-create new processes, products, and services to launch to the market. And the third one is an ecosystem, a big ecosystem, with different stakeholders connected and creating a network of the best ecosystems and hubs around the world focused in agriculture and food. So it's based in three pillars, and it's based in creating and connecting all the stakeholders. But the most important challenge is the sustainability.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
And which projects would you highlight that?
Yeah. The projects are based in three. We're crossing technologies with verticals and areas, but the three most important technologies are artificial intelligence, big data, and machine learning, with most of the 80% of startups developing projects in these technologies. Blockchain for order traceability and the logistics. And the third one are the drones for the agricultural precision. So these technologies are the most important crossing with the different challenges with the agriculture. And this for us is very, very important. We are attracting startups for more than 20 countries, and our objective is to attract more than 100 startups to develop 20 accelerator programs, 20 accelerator proof of concepts to connect with the best corporate clients, customers of the bank. So we are trying to, through the bank, connecting with the corporates and the SMEs.
I've read that in the wine industry, they are using algorithms to advance the needs of a crop in a specific area. How does it work? And which benefits does it have?
For example, the drones, the robotics for the field, the farm, advance to the climate. The algorithms are advancing all that you can know. So for us, the most important technology is artificial intelligence, and this is relating with all other technologies for drones, blockchain, virtual reality, augmented reality, 3D printing, cybersecurity. For the most important is artificial intelligence to cross to all the technologies.
Okay. Patricia, you explained me yesterday that you solve very complicated jigsaws. Yeah? So how do you do it? What are your challenges?
If you permit me, Jordi, I'd like to first make a short resume about which are the main challenges nowadays, because I think that this can probably, it's a better way to understand why we are doing the things we are doing.
Because you are working in a very macro.
Exactly, we have the whole supply chain vision. So first, for us, the first challenge is to guarantee food for all population. And it's not easy because there are several products nowadays that it's a big question if there's product enough for everybody. For example, proteins, which it means that we have to look for, from now, new ways of producing proteins. Why proteins? Proteins are necessary for the body for the human body. You need it for hormones, you need it for your bones, your muscles, your skin. So, and there is not proteins enough with the increase of population we are going to have in the forthcoming years. Second challenge for us is about it's a change of values in the whole supply chain, but basically in the primary sector. Some data that are really scary. 60% fishermen in Galicia are not thinking about fishing in the forthcoming years. They are thinking about retirement. So it means 60% of this sector is thinking about retirement.
This is happening
in Galicia.
In Galicia
Yeah,
and in all
nowadays,
fields, no?
exactly. That it's not only happening in fisher sector, also in country yard, also with meat sector. And this is a problem because there's a change of value. This man that is working as a fisherman has not a son that is going to work as a fisherman. So how do we get these proteins, fish, meat, and also vegetables? There's a challenge also. There's another challenge that it's about cost, and we are living the cost challenge as consumers also. In fact, for example, in case of milk, it has increased in the last months, it has increased around 40% in Europe, the milk. We go to buy to a supermarket, and it's 40% more expensive than 1 year ago. So it's a challenge. And why? Because about the second challenge is that between 2 and 3 producers of milk in our country are closing doors, are not working anymore for the milk sector. And one company that is closing, there is no, any other company is replacing that milk and that cows and that milk. So this is something that we have to face in the forthcoming years because there's a change of cultural thing. So cost, cultural mind from workers, and also the last one is climate change. No, it's another. It's the last one, but for me the most important one because with any company we're speaking about production and productivity. In most cases, they are worried about productivity. In case of, for example, hops that we are going to explain about one project in hops. Germany, which is the most important country exporting hops, they have decreased 30% production this year. So this is a new reality. So these 4 challenges for us, how do we face them? So for us, there are 2 big lines. The first one is about automatization, as he was explaining, not only in agri-tech, but in the whole supply chain.
Yeah.
And the second one is biotechnology. We have to look for new ways of producing several products. Which is the difference between these crises and those crises in 1960? The main difference is that that crisis was about green. So it means it was only a crisis in agriculture. But nowadays, we are talking about a crisis in the whole production, with all products, from meat to fish to vegetables to any ingredient. Cereals, everything is affected by all these challenges. So it's compulsory to look for a new way of producing, a new way of working. In fact, one of the examples I wanted to share with you, it's about Econoque. Econoque is a startup based in Madrid, and they have launched the first vertical farming with hops. They have been invested by Estrella Galicia some weeks ago with more than 4 million, and they are going to build the first production of hops in vertical farming in the world.
So indoor farming
Exactly.
is the future, maybe?
Indoor farming, it's the future. What do I mean? I'm not saying that the traditional supply chain is going to disappear, but of course, we are going to have double supply chains, probably in many products. We are going to create products in different ways.
And how can we assure that farmers, fishers, traditional workers, how can we assure they adapt to these new technologies? How will they learn? How will they learn that new ways of doing things? You know?
It's a very interesting question. There are another challenges to face that reality. It's about training that they probably will have to learn about new ways of production with all that automatization, all that technologies that probably in the future they will have to implement. And it's a big challenge, of course, but we have to still working on that because challenges probably these 4 challenges are going to change in the forthcoming year. So
one more question. You know, you said the first challenge is the lack of protein.
yeah,
But maybe we can look at the past and eat more, you know, peas, lentils, that kind of things.
Yeah.
Or this is not a path.
yeah. In fact, when we say about plant-based, we talk about an alternative protein, but it's not the only way to make alternative proteins. One of the startups we have accelerated, for example, which is Innsomnia, they can create alternative protein through mycelium, which is one part, the fiber of the mushrooms. And there are many other ways to make these proteins, like cell proteins. 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, it was established by the FDA, which is the authority in sanitary stuff in the United States, that they can commercialize cell-based proteins, which means a protein that is produced through biotechnology in laboratories. So in Singapore was the only country where they could sell at this time, since 10 years ago, this product, but nowadays in the United States you will be able to buy cellular products also, so alternative proteins. And there's many other ways to make proteins, not only plant-based.
That might frighten the consumer, no? It's against this eco-fever and interest that society is in. How can we explain it? It is good for them.
Yeah, of course, when I explain my mother about, mommy, probably in 20 years, the meat you eat will not be produced. It's not coming from a cow.
Will be printed.
She's really scared. She prefers not to live.
Print machine.
But exactly, one of the startups we are also accelerating, which is Cocos. They are doing 3D bioprinting, and they are printing many things like fish, like meat, like many products in alternative proteins, and they start working with. They have been invested by Cargill, which is one of the largest companies in the world in food. So we have. There's an increasing interest from corporations to work with this kind of new technologies, because the issue is not. It's not an option. This is
not an option.
A reality, exactly. Okay. We have to see products nowadays. Many commodities are becoming luxuries in the supermarket.
Like milk, sugar,
it's
bread.
Scary. Yeah, it's scary. So I wish to come back to 2019, but all factors are showing us that probably many things are not going to change back. So we have to start working in food tech. So for me, this is not a green revolution. It's a food tech revolution that it's here. It's a present.
And Ernest and Frederick, how does it match with you know, top end, top creative gastronomy chefs? How does it match? I mean, will they work with printers in restaurants? Will they get used to this kind of proteins? You I've mentioned it before, insects.
Yes, well, to me, first I'm a little bit scared now, but because of the panorama, no? Okay, but I think that to give a little bit of light, I think that we must be positive and to understand that maybe we can apply an innovation system or innovation to this matter or this problem. No? We have also said that maybe we don't have the correct language to introduce the matters. For example, we always put the same example. No? What is wine, for example? Is it a beverage or not? In terms of cooking, not in terms of nourishment. But in terms of cooking, what is wine? Is a beverage? Normally, 90–95% of people would say yes. We said, okay, it can be a beverage, but it can be used also as an ingredient. No? Same as when we wonder what is, does really exist the natural tomato? No? When we talk about raw materials, we always talk about natural products, organic products, and we wonder also if they are natural or not. Natural means that they are produced by nature, and when they are cultivated, they are not natural. So the natural tomato exists only at South America, and we cannot eat it.
In fact, agriculture is the contrary of
it's not natural.
No?
When we talk about white asparagus, it's cultivated. The green one is the wild asparagus. No? So I think that we should investigate and propose the solution of the problem, no? With this innovative attitude to solve the problem. And maybe something that I don't exactly know, but maybe we can design the right product to solve the problem, maybe through insects, that is a project that we are involved in, to produce the necessary proteins to assure that old people does not lose muscular mass, and this can be a solution, but we are not sure about it. But maybe the path can be opened by thinking that we can design the right products and are not the actual ones. No? And maybe this is a solution, I don't know what to think. And the other thing that I would like to introduce also is that the theme today is algorithm also, no? AI intelligence and the algorithm. And I would like to say also that a cooking recipe is an algorithm, no? And at the end we can reproduce the same thing, and technology is the summatory of a tool and knowledge. No? And we must accelerate this match, this linking knowledge problem. Yeah. No? And this is, I think, what you...
Absolutely, yeah. And what we're trying to do, and I think, the opportunities for AI exist exactly in this sort of space of capturing data and then giving it back. And so how can you, for instance, learn as much as you can about a given ingredient, maybe the molecular makeup of it, and then how can you do something with it? And if it's an insect, how can you appeal to people's tastes in order to make it delicious as well? But I think in answer to your question, I think the high-end restaurant chefs who we speak a lot with, and I think Ernest is the expert, but we've done a few interviews, and the appetite from them to do stuff in the sustainability space is huge. And when they talk about challenges, they really see themselves as the ones leading it. So a lot of the examples that Patricia gives, they're kind of fascinated by, and they're also bringing us these types of examples. And I think there's this really interesting thing that's happened in the high-end restaurant industry over the past 30 years, probably led by Bulli, is that what the chef used to sit in a four-walled room and they would cook amazing things, and then it would get taken by someone else out into the room and they would serve it to you on the plate. And maybe you would say thank you and you'd send your compliments to the chef back for loads of reasons. And maybe Instagram is one, maybe Netflix is another. Chefs are kind of moving out of the kitchen into our everyday lives, and we know who they are, we know what they do, we see programs about them. And possibly as part of this, a lot of the chefs we spoke to are increasingly caring about the wider world as well. They don't see their product as a product for an elite group of customers. They see it as impacting all of us. And so I think there's this really, really good sort of overlap between what high-end restaurant chefs are thinking about and the challenges that food tech is basically tackling. And these are really, this is a really great collaboration that's happening.
But do you think, I mean, even the most basic tools are technology, you know, for working, you know, in the countryside. So now we have printers, now we have drones. Chefs may accept working in the restaurants with meat printing machines, but will clients accept that kind of thing? I mean, will a top-end restaurant client will accept printed meat instead of a A5 grade Wagyu?
I cannot see 3D printing in a restaurant. It's well, for several things, yes. For example, in high-ticket restaurants, in this segment, and for desserts, to personalize, to customize the product, I can see it. But I don't see 3D printing of meat in all restaurants.
But maybe we can use this technology to fit, you know, the masses in the best sense.
Yeah, I see this technology obviously in the first part of the supply chain. This is the present. This company Cocus is going to make 3D printing of bacon in the forthcoming weeks for really big companies in the world. So this is a reality. But it's difficult for me. I've been working in food service for the last 15 years. It's difficult for me to see some technologies because there's no culture indeed. You know, the chef, if this printer is working out Saturday at 11 o'clock, what do you do with the machine? So it's not so easy. I don't want to say that it will not exist, because it will exist, of course, but it's not going to be widespread everywhere. So every segment will have its own technologies, and not all technologies are useful for all type of clients.
Yeah, I think the example with maybe 3D printed food, I don't know about meat so much, but 3D printed food, some of the examples we've seen are using it to form pastes in order that, using it for paste in order that the shape of a pureed food, which is really important for older people or people who can't swallow, the shape of a pureed food is more appetizing. Because one of the big challenges for people who can't chew food is that they lose all their appetite because of the shape or the color of it.
Gracias. Sorry. Yeah, so basically there are really, really important use cases where 3D printing food will become massively important, but potentially it's not for everyone, and I can understand what you mean about different segments having different
segments
use cases.
In terms that, okay, fast casual maybe, you know, or fast food, maybe it's not necessary to have 3D printing because they have another operations. In fact, the business is about operations, McDonald's, Burger King, or some companies. But I can see this product, I can see 3D printing, but maybe in the first part of the supply chain, you know, in the producer, but not necessary in the restaurant. But
I think that he explained it very well in terms of how to promote companies, and maybe the problem is not only in the production of the main product, is also in logistics, the drone experience, blah, 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 controlling the production and being more efficient. No? In a restaurant, we can see it. Today, we can order what we want to eat through our phone. No? And it's an efficiency program to reduce cost in terms of service, whatever. So maybe we can continue and keep on making things more efficient. But if we want to transform all the market, maybe we have to design new products that maybe doesn't exist already, no? Related to other or mixing things. No?
Our mission is help to the agriculture and the companies to more be efficient, cheaper, and sustainable. So if we can help to the farmer and the field to be more cheaper and sustainable, we can offer to the final customer best products and more natural and more sustainable. Not natural. more sustainable products is true. So our objective is help to the farmers, to the field, but also to the companies to transform all the products to get the final customer. So we have opened 8 challenges from the energy, water, traceability, transformation, drones, agricultural precision, marketplaces. So if is there any startup focused in agriculture, agro-industry, or agro-food can apply in the next few weeks to try to develop a new ecosystem, international ecosystem. So it's a call for startups.
We ran out of time, and we are just starting to speak.
We can stay if you want.
Sorry?
We can stay.
We can stay, but
There is a
maybe-
problem.
I don't know if we
No.
can.
We cannot stay.
After work session at 7 p.m. So that you can
Thank you.
keep your
Okay.
conversation, which was very interesting on what the challenges the food industry is facing nowadays. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
so much.